Hey, welcome to the Northwest Georgia football preseason podcast. We're getting you ready for the 2023 season, man. We got about 6 months to go. We'll be here all preseason, talking all kind of football. Joined today by fan favorite Benton Birge, man. Talk about the Chattooga Indians. Chattooga made a head coaching change in the offseason. Roon Gable, longtime trying assistant, the new head coach there at Chattooga.
Yeah,
Benton, tell us about the 23 Indians, man.
yeah. Obviously, you spoke about Rune being hired as the new head coach. Also, we're happy to have him. Also, Danny Wilson, former Cahola Creek head coach, it will be the defensive coordinator and also serve as assistant head coach. I think that's a huge get for
Great
Rune.
hire, man.
Uh,
That was a great hire by the Indians.
yeah, initial staff, and you know, there's a lot to look forward to because you had a lot of young players. We talked about off air. You didn't have very many that were on the all region team, but the ones you did have are all returning. You had a all region honorable mention at safety, and he'll be a sophomore next year. So Colton Sanford, he should have a huge year for Chattooga. As far as like the other returning players, I mean, there's talent on the team. I mean, you got junior running back Zayden Cook that could have a big year. We've talked about wide receivers, Queer Gibson and Dan Meyer. And Gibson, he plays a little quarterback too. So you might see him at the quarterback position. And you got Ty Hall, big man on the defensive line. He'll be a senior next year. And the only 7AA, I guess you'd say, player to make the first team list is Richard Bubba Bass, and he'll be a senior next year.
Probably the best name in high school football around here, Bubba Bass.
Bubba
That sounds
Bass.
like that sounds like a linebacker, doesn't it?
Yes, sir, it does. In addition to the new head coach and new, other coaches will probably be following. He doesn't have Rune currently doesn't have offensive coordinator hired. He's working on that. I talked to him the other day. He's working hard on that. And we found out this off season that we'll be getting a ton of additions to the complex down there. We're getting a new field turf, and then the track and field setup will be completed, and should be top of the line by the time the end of this semester. From what I understand, should be finished before
What
the
do
summer
you, what do
start.
you what do you think are some of the biggest areas that Coach Abel's going to have to fix heading into the
Um,
fall?
I mean, everybody wants to point toward quarterback, but I would say not just because I'm a lineman at heart, but I'd say the line of scrimmage is your biggest area of concern. Um, Last year, we had decent production from the quarterback position. You got Query coming back that's played a little bit. I think the line of scrimmage is where you win and lose games. I mean, everybody, Stuga's got the athletes to win the games. It's can they block for them, and can they make that stop, and not let the player run untouched through the middle of the line of scrimmage for, 8, 9, 10 yards, get them in the backfield. But I think the line of scrimmage is the biggest key for Chattooga this year.
Do you, do you have any idea what kind of offense Coach Gable wants to run, or is he just going to get in there and see what he's got? And
I hadn't talked specifics. He did mention that whatever he's got, he's going to have to adjust for it. He knows that he's got playmakers like Query Gibson and Dan Meyer that we saw last year can take it to the house. If you get them in open space. So I would say that would be his goal, to find a way to get his best players the ball and with space. As far as we talked about the QB competition. As far as that goes, you got Query that's had some snaps. Landon Willingham, that some people refer to as Chicken. Some people don't even know his real name. I think I went for a while not knowing his real name. But anyway, he should garner some snaps in the spring. And you got a freshman sensation, Will Mitchell, that has a lot of you hear a lot about him. Super good athlete. We'll see what happens on the high school field. He might get some spring reps as well.
Yeah, I know. But before we came on the air, man, you showed me the schedule, the 2023 schedule. I mean, it sets up pretty good for the Indians. Yeah, there it is right there for those that are watching it. I mean, Gordon Lee and Ridgeland in the preseason, but then you have Lafayette, Temple, Coahulla, and Murray to start the season.
Yeah, I think I think that Lafayette game will be very interesting. Lafayette has their big running back who went down last year, and man, he was tough to stop at Chattooga last year. So you had to go to their home field to start the season. Temple, I wouldn't count them out. I know they're losing all world player at quarterback, Cam Vaughn, but they'll come up with something. Coahulla Creek been on the rise. We've all been Coahulla Creek fans the last couple of years as they've got better and better and made their playoff appearance last year. And I mean, that will be tough. Murray County's improving. You look on down the schedule, got to go to Pepperell, at Darlington, at Dade. Those road games will be key. I mean, if you want to make the playoffs, you're going to have to snag a couple of those.
Yeah, definitely. And I have to ask, man, because I've heard this question a lot. What do the Chattooga people think about a lifetime trying guy coming over leading the program?
Well, just from the initial reaction, everybody, regardless if you were trying or Chattooga, if you knew this individual, Ruin Gable, everybody loved him. Everybody knows he's been, around football his whole life. Everybody knows who his dad is and, the history he's had at Trine, and not just Trine, but at other places too. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if we've got any honest answers, but right now, for the kids' sake and for Chattooga's sake, man, we got to go the right direction. We got to get behind, Gable and his staff, and, blue is now red and black. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I don't know if I heard this, saw it, or somebody told me, but they said they have 70 or 80 kids show up for the preseason meeting, man, which is huge.
Yeah, I think I read something. Might have been All on Georgia or something like that. That posted an interview with the coach that said he had 65 or 70, and it did not include the incoming freshmen. So, if you could at the end of the summer, if you could have 60, man. I mean, talk about a huge difference in what we've seen. I mean, we've been looking at 35. I know some of it's going to be JV, and some coaches have their way of doing things. Some will allow the JV to dress on Friday night. The way I always looked at it, I don't know what you think, Lawrence, but if you're on the JV and you're making all the practices and you're doing the things that need to be done, I think you ought to dress on Friday night. Now, you might not get on the field, but I think you should have a jersey on and be representing because, you earned it, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it builds more of that team concept in you, too. I mean, you feel more like you're part of the team if you're standing on the sidelines with a jersey on.
Yeah, and, I mean, who wants to roll out there with 28 players? I mean,
Well, Benton, I appreciate you joining me today, man. And I'll tell you what, come back tomorrow, man. We'll talk 7A, man. We'll figure out how this thing's going to go next year, huh?
Yeah, we'll talk early season.
Way early season, some early preseason predictions.
Yeah, early spring. We got a lot to see. We'll talk about who's coming back, and all that. I'm excited to come back with you tomorrow and talk about it.
All right, man. Appreciate it.